Hi, Rancho Santa Margarita. Shawn Gordon, City Council candidate here. It is Movember. This is where we sort of make note of men's cancer. A lot of it's focused around prostate cancer. A very dear friend of mine passed away from that a couple of years ago. My father-in-law beat it. My other friend beat it earlier this year. My cousin's fighting it now. My dad passed away in April from cancer. So I'm going to look a little scruffy potentially this month as I do my part for Movember. All right, today we're going to talk about Chiquita Ridge. It turns out a lot of people aren't even familiar with what's happening there, so I thought I'd run it down real quick. There was a presentation last week, I mentioned this in my Dove Canyon video, from Hunden Strategic Partners. This was excellent. Last I checked, it wasn't on the city website. Hopefully that'll show up soon. So essentially, when we became a city, January 1st, 2000, there was about 500 acres that we believed should have been part of the city. I think this all sort of came to a head in 2002. It resulted in litigation. There was a settlement agreement. I'm going to link to everything in the notes here below. And it settled down in 2008. So out of the 500 acres, we ended up with 92 acres. There's some stipulations associated with it. Essentially, the city must construct an active sports park that is a minimum of 23 acres. 32 acres allocated for other potential uses, including recreational, residential, commercial, hotel, or any other use. No less than 37 acres set aside for open, preserved space. So out of that 500 acres, a massive amount will stay open. Now, Chiquita Ridge, for those of you that don't know, is located between Antonio Parkway and the 241, over there kind of by the skate park, dog park area. So it's quite hilly. I mean, there's going to be a lot of work required to develop that land, and so it's useful. So there has been, it's been 8 years now, and we've had sort of study after study, and we haven't gotten anywhere. You'll hear people talk about a Costco coming to town. People wanted to put it where the Nissan lot was. It clearly wouldn't fit. They need like 100 acres, not 100 acres, but they need a significant amount of space. And so where that talk is centered primarily is Chiquita Ridge. Now, I've said for a while that Costco wasn't going to come. Multiple people said it. These Hunden partners did an interview. Costco is not interested. However, Walmart and Sam's Club are. Now, if Sam's Club were to come, Costco might end up becoming interested because they don't want to lose any of their people or members. But frankly, there's 4 just on the other side of the freeway, and they've got plenty of members, and I doubt that they would care. There's a couple of options with this land. We can develop it ourselves and then get premium real estate value for it because it's already developed, or we can sell it for less and let another group develop it. Both Costco and Walmart would want to own the land as opposed to rent it from us, so we would get taxes based on that. Now the rest of it, there was 3 proposals by Hunden, as you can see on this page here. So it revolved around combination of warehouse, traditional retail, restaurant, and residential. Residential only, and then what I preferred, which was the warehouse, traditional, and restaurant only. The residential, if they were to go that route, would be the high density kind of thing that you've been seeing pop up, especially in Anaheim, where they've got sort of the shops below. They're like little cities or something, and I think that's what they're going to do at Laguna Hills Mall. So you've got your living arrangements up above it. It's all very just jammed in. It's to sort of keep you all in there. It's like Disneyland Main Street or something. So, no, that's not a Donald Trump sniff. I really don't like that one, and it really doesn't produce the revenue that we'd like to see. So one of the big changes for our town would be hotels. Now, a hotel could have gone in where that high-density housing is by IHOP. That would have been really nice. Applied Medical uses a lot of hotel time, and they have to go out to Foothill Ranch. So guess where people spend their money? Over there in those centers. A hotel generates a nice amount of tax revenue. Mid-scale or upscale, a hotel isn't going to sort of be an eyesore, but we jammed in that high density housing for some reason there. So 1 or 2 mid-scale hotels I think would be a fantastic idea in this center. So you would anchor it essentially with Sam's Club. You'd have your gas. You would have a mix of stores and restaurants. You'd need to do something that isn't already in town. What we're worried about is cannibalization of existing stores. And I think the Sam's Club would probably cannibalize a lot of stores in town. At least there's a huge potential for it. One of the concerns primarily is traffic, how you would get in and out of there off Antonio. Now, I think it's far enough back that you could probably do sort of a long, gentle right turn in, but we don't want to start adding a whole bunch of lights onto Antonio. So to the extent that we could work it into an existing infrastructure, I think that would be the best. Now, the sports park is an interesting thing because there's no real concept right now. One of the presentation ideas from Hunden was that you would have a destination park so people would come to town for finals for whatever the sports were. It's youth stuff, soccer, Little League, what have you. And then they would be staying in the hotels and they'd be making use of the center that's there and, buying things. And we have very little in the way of things for youth to do in town. And that can lead to some issues. I would like to see maybe there's a standing wave surf facility, something like that. A frisbee golf combined with foot golf kind of thing. Just some things where you could get out and have a little fun as opposed to just kind of, either it's a children's playground or it's an empty stretch of grass. We do have a fair number of fields in town, and we could still make use of that center with it. Now, some people are upset about the notion of a center going in there and spoiling the nature around here. It's basically a done deal. I don't think it could be stopped. I'm not sure if you want to. I think it could add some things that we could use here in town as long as there's some really good economic development and we go after vendors that people in town are interested in. I think this is an opportunity for everybody in town to get involved, and we could do some surveys and then we could proactively go after some various facilities and try to attract them in here. So you have an issue of selling the land and letting them develop it, in which case, we get a one-time fee and then we get some tax revenue over it, or we incur the expense to develop it ourselves and we would see a higher income over time. And those are things that have to be looked at. We have a decent amount of money in the bank. We could probably do a mix of that. So if you let Walmart, Sam's Club buy a chunk, that would provide revenue that would pay for the rest. Now, keep in mind the revenue from the center helps pay for the sports park. So a nice sports park in town would be great. Everything, especially if we can do something different. Lake Forest just put that giant one up. It's not that far away, so a lot of people can go there. So we need to do something unique. We need to be a destination. And I think that's something that I can really help with on City Council in terms of getting creative with some solutions. So that's Chiquita Ridge. If you didn't know about it, that's where it is. That's what's going on. You're still probably at least a year, maybe 3 before construction starts. So keep that in mind as these discussions go on. Election 1 week from today. Please vote for me. I will do my best for you. And what I'm looking for is to provide the citizens of this community the best possible service that I can. And I would really appreciate your vote in 1 week. If you haven't already voted for me, and if you're going to vote absentee, you can vote for me. Fantastic. It's going to be an interesting day, I'll tell you, with what's going on with the presidential election and all these propositions on the ballots. So thank you, folks. We'll see you around town.